in May, they have a baseball charity benefit. I got to go there with the dog for 2 days, and I've built a pretty good bond with the family members and the loved ones of Cade already. So, Cade, when he passed away, his heart was donated, and he saved a little boy's life. That little boy threw out the first pitch of one of the games when I was there.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Empowering True Crime News. I have a very special guest today, Deputy Matthew Meyer. And I'm going to go ahead and he's actually in his squad car and has taken some time from his evening to talk to us. So let me just introduce Deputy Meyer. Deputy Matthew Meyer was born and raised in Dodge County, Wisconsin, and attended Fox Valley Technical College in Appleton, where he studied criminal justice. After college, he worked for the city of Markazan Police Department and then for the city of Berlin. Did I say that correctly? Police Department. In 2019, he accepted his current position at Dodge County Sheriff's Office as a patrol deputy and was assigned to Patrol Division and Drug Task Force. In November 2021, he was assigned full-time in the Drug Task Force until he started Canine Training School in March 2023 through Giuseppe Canine Services out of Iron Ridge, Wisconsin. He and K9 Cade graduated from Canine School in April and have been working patrol on second shift since. And I was really inspired by K9 Cade's story, which is, we're going to share it in a little bit. Deputy Meyer received a life-saving award for assisting and saving someone's life who was having a medical emergency. He's also a field training officer on the SWAT team, still assists in the drug task force, is part of the community policing program, and is on the Project Lifesaver team. He grew up working on Lake Michigan as a salmon charter fishing guide, and in 2014, he got his U.S. Coast Guard captain's license and has operated a charter fishing boat as a captain ever since. So thank you for being here. Welcome. I appreciate you taking some time to talk to us. And so share with me, I know you just finished Canine Training School. You have your new canine partner, K9 Cade. And can you share with me a little bit about how that's been like over, I know it was about a 5-week program, right? And
Yeah.
ever since how it's working out with, how you've been working out together.
So it's going really good. It's one of those things where we get better every day. He's still trying to figure me out. I'm trying to figure him out. It's very cool going to work and having that proud dad moment when he is trained in narcotics. I think we have 9 or 10 arrests already in just over a month where he's located narcotics in vehicles.
Wow.
Um, it's just very rewarding. It's very cool working with him and knowing that he's in my car and he's got my back. He's always watching what I'm doing, and it's very exciting, especially this early in my career.
Right. Wow. And so so you said about 10 arrests?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So what are some of the tasks that you're going to be working on? I know you mentioned narcotics, but I know it expands beyond that.
Yeah, so he's trained in narcotics. That's primary what we'll do. He's also trained in tracking. So if a suspect flees from us, he can track to find that person. Or if an elderly person or child's lost somewhere, he could track them and find them. He's also trained in suspect apprehension and handler protection, meaning if somebody's fighting with me, I have a fancy button on my belt I can pop and he'll come out and save me.
Mm. Wow, that's amazing. That's incredible.
Yes,
And
so very protective over me.
right, right, amazing. I mean, you just started working together, so I imagine over the years that
Yeah,
protection, that loyalty factor just grows and grows. So, can you
yes.
share with me a little bit about your day to day? Cade lives with you, correct?
Yes, he lives with me. So, he lives in my house. He loves going to work more than anyone I've ever met. He goes outside, goes to the bathroom in the morning, and then he runs over by my squad car and sits by his door and wants to go to work. So that's their work drive is just crazy. That's all he wants to do is work. He's got a lot of energy. He is still only a puppy. He actually turns 17 months tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Okay, amazing. Well, happy 17th month birthday, Cade. So you just started working together. So I know there's still going to be, you're just kind of figuring each other out and working together. But
Yes.
so far, what would you say, like the most rewarding and maybe the most challenging part of working with a canine as your partner?
So the most challenging part, I would say, is just getting that bond with him. Dogs are just like humans, where they can have good days and bad days throughout training. I'm trying to learn what I need to do as a canine handler. There's a lot that goes into it. Leash control. I have to keep my feet moving to make sure I'm not giving him triggers that cue him
Mm.
and create bigger issues. So I would say just that aspect of, he's trying to figure me out. So if I do the same thing every time, he's going to think, oh, dad wants me to sit here. Or that's where you run into some issues in the future. So I have to make sure that I'm doing what I need to be doing and just to keep him on his toes.
Mm. And what would you say is the most rewarding part so far?
Um, I would say so. My first shift with him, I was requested right away to go do a narcotics vehicle sniff on a subject that had a lot of past drug history and stuff. And I'm really nervous. I'm getting there. It's on a highway. There's a bunch of cars driving by, and it's my first actual sniff. And he alerted to the presence of narcotics, and we found cocaine in the car. So that was very rewarding for me to just trust your dog, is what our trainer always told us. Trust your dog. They know what they're doing. Just continue to trust them and your bond, and everything's going to come together throughout the years.
So he's 17 months old, but he's been training before he got with you. About how long do canines typically train to become, to
So
get their role?
Giuseppe Canine Kennel, what we use, they get their dogs virtually green. They don't have any patrol related training until our master trainer, Jesse Smith, gets them. And then he imprints them on narcotics and a few other things before we start class. That way, when we start our 5 week training class, he's training the handlers on how to train the dogs, basically. That way, throughout our career, if we have issues, I kind of know what to go back to the basics. How did we start? Let's say we're having a problem tracking. How did we start? Okay, we did very small tracks with a small leash, and then you can build your way back up.
Okay, great. So I know that K9 Tech just retired, and also I noticed K9 Kid also retired.
Yes.
Was K9 Cade brought on kind of like, was there a plan for that, or did it just all
Yes.
happen?
So Canine Tech had some health problems. He had some hip problems and arthritis, and he had a couple major surgeries. So he worked for 5.5 years, and I'm very close to his handler. He's now Lieutenant Taylor Nails. So when I started at Dodge County, Taylor was my field training officer. Then he got promoted to sergeant. He was my sergeant in the drug task force, and then he became lieutenant of detectives. So I got to work very closely with him, and K9 Tech was a great dog. He was very, very good at patrol stuff. It was just one of those things where his health issues were getting worse, and Taylor wanted him to be able to enjoy being a dog at home.
Mm,
So K9 Cade was purchased to replace Tech. And then Lieutenant Nicholas was promoted, and his dog Kid retired. That one was not planned until he got promoted.
okay. So maybe there'll be some more canines that join your department.
Yeah, so we actually just had another one sworn in today. We hired that handler from another police department. So that dog will be joining us fairly soon here when that handler is done with field training. And then our hope is to get another dog this fall.
Oh, wow, amazing. So it sounds like, do canines typically work for about 7 years? Does that seem to be
Yeah,
about correct?
yeah. So like Tech worked 5.5 years, and I believe Kid was on the road for 7.5, 8 years. So it all depends on their health problems. If they have any health issues, it's a lot of stress on those dogs to be jumping in and out of the squad car, and um, they get worked very hard. We train twice a month really hard, and to make sure that they're top notch when it comes to patrol stuff. So, and they're very, very hard workers. There's no quitting them dogs.
Right.
Uh, the dog could have a cold and you wouldn't even know it. They're going to work just as hard. So,
Wow.
um, yeah, I would say most of the dogs I know typically work around 7 to 8 years if they're healthy, and that is a very successful career.
Wow. And so you mentioned that, they kind of will do whatever is asked of them. Is there anything that canines typically do, like tasks that humans don't do, or vice versa?
So, a very cool thing that we do and we train our dogs on is, let's say we have a suspect in a building and we don't know where he is. it's obviously very dangerous for us to go into the unknown. The dogs are trained to go in and sniff door seams and search the building without me being next to him. And when I hear him barking, I know he found the suspect, whether they're behind a door or they're buried in something. And he gives me a cue. That's him telling me, hey, I found the person that I'm supposed to be looking for.
Wow. And so that and all that's done in a very short amount of training for the canines. I mean, that's
Yes.
incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible to see how smart they are and how fast they grow. And even as incredible as Tech and K9 Kids were, both of those dogs, the handlers will tell you, you're constantly going to be getting better your whole career. You're always going to be training. The dogs are going to be really good at one thing, and then you'll be lacking in something else. So you start training in that thing that you're lacking, and then pretty soon you're fixing something else. And it's a constant growth period where you're just trying to build the best bond and relationship with your dog.
And you see when you in the final shifts, I just saw Canine Kids. I had seen Canine Techs. That bond that they have, that's just it's so they're so close. It's an emotional bond too.
Very, yeah, very
Physically
emotional.
over the years, I can see how that how that develops. And I love how you said that the motto is like to trust the
Yeah,
canine, right?
trust your dog. Yeah, because the dogs can feel it through their leash. I'm a big believer in that. If I'm nervous and I'm like, I don't know if this is going right, he gets nervous and he's looking at me going, "What's wrong? I thought we were supposed to be doing this."
Mm.
That's a big thing that all canine handlers have given me advice on is trust your dog. Your dog knows what they're doing. Just trust them.
So I was really inspired by K9 Cade's story. And I know that it was partially, maybe you can explain a little bit more, but that there was a 14-year-old boy who sadly passed away in a car accident. And it was in Dodge County, and some of the officers, you probably weren't, you weren't there. I'm sure you weren't at the police station yet, but there was just a special bond that also developed with between the family of Cade and the police officers. And they actually helped donate for Cade to be K9 Cade to join your team. Can you share a little bit more about that story and how you got involved and even in the naming of Cade?
Yeah, so they knew Tech was going to retire in March. So I was selected, I believe it was in November, to be our next canine handler here. Um, and we were already planning on buying a dog, and the Play for Cade organization reached out and said, "Hey, we're looking to give back to you guys. We're very thankful for what we did. Our sheriff's office and our deputies that were on scene that day when Cade was involved in a tragic car crash. They ended up donating $15,000, which was enough to pay for K9 Cade and the training, which was awesome. That organization brings awareness to organ donors. So in May, they have a baseball charity benefit that they've been doing for a few years now. I got to go there with the dog for 2 days and I walked around, let the kids pet them, and met people. Um, and I've built a pretty good bond with the family members and the loved ones of Cade already. They think it's so cool what we're doing out here. So while I was there, I actually got to watch so Cade, when he passed away, his heart was donated, and he saved a little boy's life. That little boy threw out the first pitch of one of the games when I was there, and that was just absolutely amazing to see. Just overpowering with emotions watching that happen. In my career, I've seen a lot of bad. I've been to a lot of bad car crashes. I've unfortunately had to tell people that their loved ones passed away. Um, that to me was very cool to see the positive that Cade's family made out of the situation. It's just unbelievable to see them be so positive and bring all this awareness to organ donations. And they give out scholarships to children, and they're just doing so much good.
Wow. So then Cade, the young boy that died, not only is he he gave his own organs, then his family has continued the legacy and they're raising awareness for organ donation. And then they supported and donated for a K9 Cade. That's
Yes.
incredible. How did the name, who was the one who brought up the name, naming K9
So when they donated it, I wanted to ask them, but I felt I wanted to select my dog already before training happened and bring the dog to meet the family as a thank you for donating the money. And my captain went with me, and we asked their permission to name him after Cade. Um, I just thought that was the most respectful thing to do, and I wanted to be there in person and have them meet the dog and ask them, because I feel like that is a great way to honor Cade. He's done so much good since he passed away. The family's continuing to do good, and I truly believe that Cade is going to watch over me and my partner here in the future.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I can totally see that. Absolutely. I'm sure he is already.
Yeah,
And so do you think you're going to have periodic times where you're going to be meeting the family at least during their yearly
yeah, yeah.
events?
Yep, absolutely. So I went there for a couple days during their baseball charity benefit, and I told them if they're doing any benefits or anything like that, I've also invited them to. They came to my swearing in. I'm going to invite them when I have stuff going on with the dog.
Beautiful. So, is there anything else that you'd like to share? Or maybe do you need support with anything or an initiative that you'd like to raise some awareness for?
I just think organ donation and blood donation in general is an awesome thing. I mean, learning more and more about it after I met the family, it's just truly remarkable on how people's lives are getting saved, and I just think that that's such a special thing, and we can all do our part to do that. And you never know whose life it's going to impact. When Cade was brought to the hospital, his mom told me the little boy that ended up getting his heart was in the same hospital at the same time that Cade passed away when he was at the hospital. And now, fast forward, and it's been a few years, and this kid's doing good. He's growing. I mean, like I said, seeing him throw that first pitch out at the baseball game was just overpowering with emotion. Very, very cool.
Wow, that's wonderful. And I'll definitely make sure to put a link to Play for Cade so that others can learn more about that organization. So I guess what I'll do to wrap up is there, I mean, I know you've only been with Cade, K9 Cade for a couple of months now, but how do you feel that how has it shaped or changed your life working with a canine?
It's definitely different. There's a lot of work that goes into it. People expect me to be an expert in everything now when they call for questions. There is a lot of work that goes into it. I need to know a lot more case law when it comes to laws and stuff with the dog. And people are, other deputies and officers are asking me questions on that. So I need to keep studying up on that stuff. Um, there's a lot more paperwork I have to do with training logs and deployment logs, and more reports that I'm going to type because I'm getting called other people's traffic stops and calls that I typically wouldn't go to. But at the end of the day, I feel that it's going to be one of the most rewarding things that I do in my career, talking to tech and kids handlers. Um, that is the most rewarding thing that they've done in their careers, and it's very emotional watching the bond when both of those dogs retired, seeing how the handlers are all the emotions are hitting them at once. There's a lot of work that goes into being a canine handler. You're constantly training, and there's going to be frustrating days and some days that it's just awesome what your dog did and you're so proud of them.
Mm, lovely. Well, can we say hi to K9
Yeah,
Cade?
hopefully he doesn't try to come up front here. Hi, buddy.
Hello. Hi, Cade. Handsome guy. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Oh, and it's so interesting seeing because they're obviously they've got their job. They're direct. They go for it. They can be vicious, if they have to be. But then they're so loving too, and I think that's just so amazing. It's just that I don't know any other species that's like that.
Yeah, they're very, very smart and they know when it's time to work and when it's time to just be a dog.
Mm, that's amazing. Well, I know you're still on shift, so have a great rest of your shift. And thank you so much for being here. And I know my audience just loves hearing about the canine stories. So hopefully, I'll check in with you from time to time and see how things are going as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Learn more about Play for Cade organization that raises awareness for organ donation in honor of Cade and that donated to get and train K9 Cade, please visit playforcade.com. And I am just, let me see if I can bring up my little, this is my inspiration. I adopted him. This is Javier, the Havanese. And he just, I accidentally, while I was making lunch, I accidentally spilled tomato sauce. And so I just gave him a bath a little bit. It was a very bad bath, but he looks like he is like dirty clothes himself. But yeah, he's funny. He's my inspiration for loving dogs. I adopted him about, he's 11 now. So I adopted him 9 years ago. And ever since I'm just so passionate about talking about dogs. And when I created my true crime channel, so many people love the dog content. I do too. I think it's me, right?
Absolutely.
So, if you enjoyed this video, let me know your favorite part in the comments, and please like and share the video, and make sure to subscribe so we can continue to spread more empowering news in the world. Thank you!